Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at the tactile version of the Hanami Dango switches that I reviewed last Monday. With that out of the way, let's just get right into the pricing. 70 switches goes for $35.70, 90 switches goes for $45.90, and 110 switches goes for $56.10. So these are priced the same as the pink ones, but of course they are different in terms of specs because these are tactile and the other ones were linear. When it comes to the specs, they do feature a nylon top and bottom housing with a pump stem as well, but the actuation force and bottom out force are a bit different. The tactile switches have a 55 gram actuation force with a 67 gram bottom out force. They also have a 1.5 millimeter pre-travel distance, which is going to be where the tactile bump sits in the switch. They have a total travel distance of 4 millimeters and still have that 20 millimeter extended gold plated spring, and of course they are factory lubed as well. Now, just like their linear counterparts, the lube job on these switches is quite nice, and I don't really think you need to lube them, but I do think that the lube doesn't really do a good job of getting rid of the spring ping in this switch. There is a slight spring ping towards the end of the switch. It's not like a super loud spring ping and you can't hear it when actually typing on the keyboard, but it is something to point out if you did care about that. I'd probably recommend re-lubing the springs, but if you don't want to, you won't necessarily hear it depending on your keyboard configuration. Now, with that being said, the tactile bump is in the middle of the switch sort of, so as you know me, I prefer the tactile bump towards the top, but I can still say that these are quite nice despite that. I've never been a big fan of tactile switches like this. It still does feel a little bit weird to me that the tactile bump isn't at the top of the switch, but out of all the switches that I've tried that don't have the tactile bump right at the top, these are probably my favorite. Here is a sound test. You guys can hear how it sounds. Sound-wise, I think they sound very similar to their linear switch counterparts, but I think these obviously sound a bit more tactile because they do have that tactile bump. So whether or not you like the sound profile of these compared to their linear switches is of course up to you. Me personally, I think these sound and feel better than the linear switch because they are a bit snappier, even though they still contain the extended spring, but because these have that tactile bump, I feel like they do feel a bit snappier because of it. That's not to say the linears are bad in any way, shape, or form, but I do think the spring makes the linears feel a bit slower to type on, and I'm not a massive fan of that. Overall, I do think these switches feel good and sound good. I do wish the stock performance did not have that slight spring ping to it. Other than that, if you were wanting to check these out, I'll be leaving a link to them in the description below, and let me know what you guys think about the Hanami Dango Tactile switches in the comments down below as well. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.